Today for unboxing we have a RadioShack branded, Uniden manufactured, 900 megahertz loud and clear series telephone. I believe this is model ET-3577 or something like that. And I will say I don't have the highest hopes for the antenna on this, because you can kind of hear something rattling and almost rolling around in there. But I mean, it is with its original box, so maybe it was packaged properly for the antenna. Maybe that rolling sound is from something else. Here it is. It's actually a bit bigger than I expected, actually a lot bigger. And this box is pretty heavy. But yeah, that doesn't sound good in there for the antenna. Oh geez. Yep, it's gone. Well, this handset is actually bigger than I expected, just like I said about the box. That's nice. It's got a nice feel in the earpiece. I think this is going to be a pretty cool telephone. I can't test it during this video because it's late at night, but I really wanted to get this unboxed. Unusually for a 900 megahertz telephone, it's actually got backlit buttons, I believe, and buttons on the side. That's pretty unusual for a 900. They have a pretty odd-looking design for the battery cover. I guess this is how you get into it. Yeah, there we go. Unfortunately, the battery is plugged in. Hopefully it's not corroding. It's all blurry. But it's not all corroded in here. That's good. This was made by BYD, so I'm kind of surprised it wasn't corroding after being plugged in all this time. Also, if this is the original battery, this was a late-era 900 megahertz phone. This was made according to this date code, which follows the RadioShack format, or which appears to follow the RadioShack format. If it does, then this was made in August of 2006. I thought these 900 phones were pretty much discontinued from all manufacturers by about 2003. Now the foam in here is a bit tacky to the touch, but it's certainly not degraded to the point of no return like it usually does in these older phones, so that is a good sight. Now since this battery's been plugged in for who knows how long, it may not work, but this is quite a standard battery. And it only holds 600 milliamp hours, so I guess it's not a huge loss if it doesn't work. Here's the original antenna, which is tragically sticky. I may just not want to use that after all. Sometimes these antennas get sticky over time, and sometimes they don't. It is nice that the seller added an extra paper packaging. That's unexpected. And this, I mean, this does appear to be completely unused. So this is pretty cool. The base antenna is made from regular plastic, and although there is a hair on here, everything looks to be in flawless condition. And we've got, oh, this is really cool. Got a lot of controls on the base. There's a ringer on-off switch, a ringer volume slider, which is something that I have never seen outside of a brass bell ringer telephone, much less a cordless type. And you've got a ringer tone adjustment button, and a visual ringer adjustment switch. I am a fan of red flashing lights, so I'll leave this on high. There's the page button. We've got a bracket because this is not a natively wall-mountable base or innately wall-mountable base. Now the category number of this is 43-3577, and the model is ET-3577, and the date code is September 2006. Wow. Yeah, like I said, I had no idea these types of phones were made this late into the era. I think around that time is when the DECT 6 phones started coming out. But with something like this, I feel like this actually holds up against a lot of DECT 6 phones. Now there is only one model of DECT phone that I know of, or DECT 6 phone that I know of, that does not have a handset speakerphone, just like this doesn't. But still. And we do have the belt clip, of course. That's a huge clip. It's actually very stiff. More so than I would have expected. That's cool. I don't really like the sound when I open that. It feels like it's gonna crack at some point. And I actually am gonna plug this battery in and leave it charging overnight. And here are the cords. Thankfully this cord is not really sticky, it's just slightly tacky. Kind of like that foam. Sometimes these older Uniden cords will go sticky with age. Not nearly as much as the Panasonic ones, thank goodness. I will just leave this antenna alone for now. So I'll get everything original packed back away in here. And I do notice it doesn't appear to have the manual anywhere in here, which is pretty unfortunate, but at least these phones are intuitive to use. Oh man, the box has a fold. No printing on it, at least. Actually, let's take a look at some of these accessories. Great accessories for your phone. Customize your phone to match your needs. At RadioShack, we have dozens of accessories for your home or office phone that will provide you with greater versatility. You'll find add-ons and extras for virtually any make and model of phone, cordless or corded, as well as handy gadgets that will make your life easier and save you time by making your phone more convenient and user-friendly. Here are a few ideas, all as close as your local RadioShack. After all, we're the telephone accessory experts. So you've got a headset, that is, a telephone headset, extension cords for the phone line, from 2 feet all the way up to 100 feet. couplers, multiple outlet adapters, and actually, that looks like wrapping paper. I wonder if this was given to someone as a gift before. Wow. Yeah, that really looks like old wrapping paper. That's cool. And lastly, batteries. I do sure wish RadioShack was still selling all these things. Yep, those buttons look like they shine pretty brightly on the box, for sure. Here's the adapter, which is RadioShack branded. It outputs 9 volts DC, 350 milliamps center positive, which is exactly what this phone calls for. And the twist tie actually exactly color matches this cord. Not sure if I have enough free outlets right now to plug this in. Oh, I do, yeah. Oh yeah, and there's a tone pulse switch back here too. Reset the security code. And it sounds like the handset made a sound, but it's not showing anything on the screen yet. I'm not going to take this off for now. Looks like it is trying to charge. So let's test out the ringer tone, I guess. That is very nice and quiet. Whoa. That was not even halfway up. That was about this far up. Yep, this isn't really a late night kind of telephone, I can tell that much. But thankfully, it actually is. It goes nice and quiet. Like I said, that's actually really quiet. And I do have to say that quiet ringer is just something you don't see very often on a cordless phone base, especially an older one. So I do value that a lot. And I do have one phone with this ringer already on it. But it's really nice to have another one. It's just one of my all-time favorites. So let's listen to the others it has on here. That one's a bit more, not really basic, common sounding, but I think it's still a cool one. It's not putting out the best high frequency response. Maybe it's coming from down here, and this is on the carpet. Oh no, it's coming from right there, behind the handset. But of course this ringer is still plenty audible. There I go, getting carried away with the slider again, jeez. Gotta be careful not to wake anybody up. This one's not as pleasant as the first one, but it's still interesting to me. I can't really think of any other phones besides Loud and Clear series phones that come with that. And I don't really know why you'd want that instead of the first one, but it's there. I guess that's a decent alternative to the first one. Oh yeah, and the one preceding that, I just realized I didn't say anything about that one. But preceding this one, I think is also pretty unusual to hear. I can't think of any models outside the Loud and Clear series that have a ringer that sounds just like that. And there we are back to the beginning. So obviously I'm not going to ring it with the slider all the way up tonight, but I can't wait to test that out. And unfortunately, it doesn't look like the handset is taking a charge. Oh no, there it goes. Okay, cool. You can see it's displaying something on the screen down there. So I'll just leave this charging overnight. Hopefully that didn't mess up the battery by taking it off the charger just now. I didn't take it off for too long. Anyway, I'll come back to this with a separate video later on and see exactly how this thing works.